So after Santa Rosa, I went to Tandil, and what was funny was I had a zone leader in Santa Rosa who got transferred before I did. And then the next transfer when I went to Tandil, I get off the bus and he's like, Hermana Harrison. I'm like, what are you doing here? So it was so funny because he was my zone leader twice and we got to see each other a lot on the mission. And so showing up to Tandil was really hard because there apparently had been some previous sisters that didn't work well with the missionaries or something, or with the members. And so we had zero trust with the members. They just didn't trust sisters at all. They loved the elders. They would go out with the elders and teach with them, but nobody would leave with us. And so it was really, really hard to get the members involved in our investigators and our work and everything. But we were, I don't know how, but we were able to find trust with these members and just try to serve them as much as we could. And even the members that did not like us, but they still fed us because they felt an obligation to, we were able to find love for them. Even we were so frustrated with them. But despite that, we were able to love them and just serve them and do everything we could possibly do to help them. And we were able to see a difference in the members and, you know, how much they grew to love the sisters, and they would leave with us to go teach lessons and everything. And it was really cool to see the change in their opinion of sister missionaries when we were there. And then my second transfer in that area, I was called to train a new missionary, and that was so nerve-wracking for me because I was still trying to find my ground with Spanish and everything, and it was so crazy. And I was like, are you sure I'm supposed to train? Like, I don't think I'm ready for this yet. But I was really nervous because I thought I was going to be a really bad trainer because I was either super scared to train a Latina because I figured she would just judge me by how bad my Spanish was and just not think like I knew anything. Or I was really scared I was going to teach an American and just want to talk English with her all the time and just like have both of our Spanish go down the drain. But I was so nervous about it, and so I prayed that entire weekend until my new missionary got there. But on the day of transfers, I went to the bus station to pick her up. And she got off the bus, and as soon as I saw her, I just had the biggest smile on my face, and I just ran to her and gave her a huge hug. And I was like, I'm your trainer. Well, I was talking in Spanish, but it was just so much fun, and she was so beautiful. She is blonde hair, blue-eyed, just like me, and I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting in a Latino culture, having two sisters that are blonde hair, blue eyes, walking through the streets. It's going to be interesting for sure. But she was so amazing, and because of her excitement and dedication to being a missionary, she couldn't speak super well, but we only spoke Spanish. We never spoke English to each other, and we were just able to grow so much together, and because of that, I think the members also saw how much she grew, and so they also got really excited to help us even more with the work. And so they saw her be born, and she was in that area for I think 4 or 5 transfers, and so they got to see her learn Spanish and grow so much on her mission. And so because of that, you know, the members in this area really supported the missionaries, and the work was able to grow, and we were able to baptize a couple, and that was the highlight of my mission because I was like, I baptized a family. It was so wonderful. But that area itself physically was probably one of my hardest areas because Argentina is so flat, zero mountains or anything until you get to the Andes, you know? But in that area, the entire city is hills. And so I was so used to just walking flat, and I could walk for miles, but then I get to this area and all of a sudden I was walking up and down hills and my calves were killing me. My feet were hurting so bad. And it was so random because I was like, where did these hills come from? And they thought they lived in the mountains, and then we'd show them pictures of Utah, and they'd be like, all right, actually we don't have the mountains, but we still have pride for our hills, you know? But so that area was hard physically for me because of the difference in how the city was. And then also that area was hard for me because the city itself and the area was really big. And so we had, a really residential area, but then we also had a part of the city that was across the highway, and there was a random neighborhood. And so we weren't allowed to be there after dark to start with because it was a little too dangerous for sisters to be over there. And so we had to really plan out when we were gonna, work in that area. But then not only trying to figure out what time of day to be there, but also trying to figure out how to cross this really busy highway, because you just had to cross the highway. So it wasn't like a freeway, it was just a 2 or 3 lane highway both ways. And so we would have to like really time it out nice when we could just run across and hope we don't get hit by a car. So that was also really hard for us because we didn't want to walk. There was, I think, a walkway like a mile down where it like went over the highway, but we didn't want to walk all the way over there because we didn't have time. And so we just risked our lives all the time, and it was great. It was so much fun. We just made a game out of it. So we just tried to have positive attitudes about it the whole time. But yeah, so I think that was hard for us, was there was a couple areas we weren't allowed to be in very much. And so it was really hard because we found such awesome people in these areas, but we couldn't go and teach them very often. And so we had to end up just giving the investigators to the elders because they could be over there longer than we could. But it was still such a great area, and it was so cool for me to see how much the members were able to trust us as missionaries and were able to love us as much as they loved the elders, which was a huge thing for us, but we were very proud of ourselves for that. So that was a really fun area too.